Hey guys, and welcome! Today I want to give you a complete guide to the hacking specialist Rao and his abilities, and also give you some tips on how to play and master him. But let's start with the abilities. Normally, all specialists have a specialty and a trait that could be compared to an active and a passive ability. But for Rao it's a bit different, since both abilities are pretty similar to each other and only differ in the kind of hackable objects. Rao is wearing a special cyber warfare suit that gives him the ability to hack everything that is around him, no matter if it is devices, control panels, vehicles or enemy soldiers. But in-game, this is split up into a specialty and a trait. So the specialty is called Cyber Warfare Suit and allows him to hack enemy vehicles, aircrafts, rangers, sentry turrets, proximity sensors and all other kinds of equipment that somehow work with electronics. His trait, Trojan Network on the other hand, is focused on the infantry and allows him to hack enemy soldiers and by doing this, spot others around them. And this combination makes him to one of the strongest and most underrated specialists in my opinion, especially when countering vehicles. So let's dive a bit deeper into the different kinds of hacking, starting with the vehicles and hardware. Rao's suit has a range of about 90 meters, and within that range, the crosshair of the hacking interface will turn yellow when you hover over hackable devices or vehicles. So for example, if there is a tank nearby, just press 3 on PC or D-pad left on console to access the warfare suit. Then hold the trigger to hack the target. That takes quite a while depending on the target and is actually the only disadvantage of Rao, cause in this time you're completely vulnerable. You cannot shoot and you can only move pretty slow. So before you start hacking, you should always make sure to be in a somewhat safe spot or at least not directly under fire. Even though that can work as well, but needs a bit of practice. Once hacking has finished, it lasts for about 10 seconds and disables all weapon systems of a vehicle and also all countermeasures such as flares. But the vehicles and aircrafts can still move as usual and also still roadkill you. Once the vehicle is hacked, it's the perfect time for you or your teammates to either shoot at it with the recoilless M5 or get closer to it and blow it up with dynamite. If we are talking about an aircraft, the missile launcher is a good choice, as Heelys are not able to use their flares when hacked. So hack them first, then log on with the missile launcher and fire. Then they have no chance to counter them. Same with the combination of SOFLAM and recoilless M5. First hack the Heely, then designate them with the SOFLAM and let a teammate log on and fire with the recoilless M5. The only thing that pilots can do in this situation is firing the flares before the hacking is finished, so anti-air missiles or SOFLAMs cannot log on for a few seconds. Same for tanks. When you are in a vehicle and a player with Rao starts hacking, you will get a message on screen that hacking is in process. During this time, you can still fire countermeasures or try to get behind cover, cause Rao's suit only works on sight. So every object you want to hack has to be in your line of sight. If a vehicle disappears behind a wall or a helicopter flies behind a building, hacking is cancelled. The good thing is that smoke doesn't break the line of sight, so a vehicle that is trying to hide in a cloud of smoke can still be hacked. And that actually makes Rao the #1 anti-vehicle specialist and also makes him very helpful and valuable for your team if you know how to play him. 1 or 2 active Rao players can already make a huge difference on the battlefield and if your team gets overwhelmed by enemy vehicles and aircrafts or not. For the vehicles that are hacked by him, not only the weapon systems and all vehicle gadgets get disabled for a short time, but also the HUD is interrupted similar to the EMP grenades. When hacking has finished and the effect has passed, the vehicle cannot immediately be hacked again, as it has a firewall up for about 10 seconds. But that's also shown as a message on your screen, so if you want to hack the vehicle again, just keep the crosshair at the target and wait until the firewall is down again. For the Cyber Warfare suit itself, there's no cooldown and you can hack different vehicles shortly after each other. In addition to the disabled weapon systems and interrupted HUD, all passengers of the vehicle that was hacked get spotted on the minimap and with a red dot above their heads for a few seconds. So if they would leave the vehicle, you could clearly see them. And that leads me to the next point, which is Rao's trait called Trojan Network. When starting the Cyber Warfare suit, you might have recognized this blue ping that starts every few seconds. This is not only to show that the suit is active, but it already spots enemies that are within the range of the ping, which is 90 meters, same as the range of the suit in general, and in your line of sight. They won't have a red dot above their heads, but they get spotted as red dots on the minimap. So if there's no obstacles or wall breaking the ping, they get spotted. When they are hidden behind cover or a wall or in a building on a level above or below you, they won't get spotted. But this changes once you hack one of the players in your line of sight. Hacking infantry, luckily, doesn't take as long as hacking vehicles, and a quick peek around the corner is enough to get this done. When one is successfully hacked, every other enemy around him is spotted as a red dot on the minimap and also with a red dot above their heads. That's already pretty helpful, but it gets even better. When you kill the enemy that was hacked, all enemies around them will get painted in red for a short time, but within a very large area. I can't tell you exactly how wide the range of this target painting is, but it's definitely wider than Pike's EMGX scanner. It only lasts for a few seconds, but gives you and your teammates in close proximity an idea how many enemies are around you. Also, the targets are not painted for all of your teammates across the map, but only for the ones nearby, similar to the spotting mechanic of Boris' sentry turret. The time frame you have from hacking the enemy to killing it is also pretty short, so try to choose one that you can easily see and hit. Because you have to kill this hacked enemy yourself. If you only hack them and then a team or squad mate kills them, the painting target mechanics won't get triggered. It only works when you do it. Taking a look from the other side, so when you get hacked by Rao, it also looks pretty similar to getting hit by an EMP grenade. Your HUD is disrupted and you can't use your specialist abilities or some of your gadgets, but you can still move and shoot your weapon. In addition, you can see the direction of the hack on your screen with those small yellow lines, to give you an idea where that Rao player must be and give you the chance to counter them. Rao's cyber warfare suit can also be disabled with EMP grenades for a short amount of time. Another thing Rao can do is interacting with different objects on the map from distance. So, for example, these red steel doors that you can lock for enemy players. Instead of walking up to them and force opening them, you can easily access their control panel with Rao from distance and regain control over the doors. So it will open only for your team and not for the enemy team instead. Same with those poles on Kaleidoscope. They can be manipulated to only lower for your team's vehicles, but keep the road closed for the enemies. Or the bridges that you can raise or lower from distance as well. So basically everything that uses electronics can be hacked by Rao in any way. Same for the gadgets and abilities of other specialists. You can, for example, hack Casper's drone, which will throw him out of the control screen for a while and won't let him enter the drone again immediately. Or Boris' sentry turret. Once hacked, it won't shoot or spot anyone for a few seconds. What you could also hack is the shoot down sentinel of Irish, but if it is in your line of sight anyhow, you can simply shoot to destroy it. Same with some of the gadgets like the insertion beacon, the proximity sensors or the AT mines. Even though you could hack them, it just doesn't make much sense since it's easier and faster to shoot them. Pretty useful on the other hand is the hacking against the robot dog ranger, cause similar to vehicles it will disable the robot's weapon systems for a while, but it can still run around and follow its player. And at the end, a few words to Rao's mastery, cause this is probably the easiest one in the game. You can completely master the specialist without even using one of his abilities once, cause the description only says spot assists and enemies spotted as Rao, but it doesn't say you have to use his cyber warfare suit. And that's also not a bug, it really works like this, and everything you can use for spotting works as well. When you sit on the spotter seat in a tank or heli and spot enemies, it counts. When you use the proximity sensor and an ammo crate and throw these things out like candy to spot enemies, it also counts. Of course, every enemy spotted with his suit counts as well, but what I would recommend is a combination of SOFLAM and proximity sensor. Cause with the SOFLAM, you can simply position yourself on a high ground and spot a whole bunch of enemies within a short moment. And if you do this for a whole match, preferably 128 player matches if they work for you, you can easily do 200, 300 or more spottings. In some, you have to do 4000, and each enemy that you spot and that gets killed by one of your teammates counts as assist for you. So these enemies actually count twice, once as spotting and once as assist. Another advantage of using the SOFLAM is that you also help your team by designating vehicles, so others can log onto them with their recoilless M5 or anti-tank and anti-air missiles. As weapons for Rao itself, I enjoyed playing the sniper rifles, especially the anti-W50 to get fully into countering vehicles. Best gadgets for Rao, besides the aforementioned SOFLAM, are the C5 explosives, the recoilless M5 or the FXM missile launcher. Also, smoke grenades are a good choice to break the line of sight between you and a tank, for example, so the enemy won't see and shoot you, but you are still able to hack them. And that's it for today. I hope this guide gives you some good in-depth information on Rao and his abilities, and if it did, be sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel to stay tuned for more content like this. Until then, thanks for watching. I'm the Catwoman, and you are awesome.